The musician had 4 languages. It had 2 Kurdish dialects, Kamanji and Sorani. It had Turkish and English.
We did need a translator to work with the different dialects. I think it really did help the actors having a translator on set. There's no academic Kurdish language where you can go and source academic resources, information about this language. Here is a culture that don't have a homeland. The biggest part of them are in diaspora. Those who live in those countries under oppression or under specific rules where they cannot practice their own mother tongue, so didn't have the opportunity to continue to work through their own languages.
I felt a responsibility to Dee to have her vision told in the truest, most authentic way that it could have been. These stories come from a really personal place, their experience, their families. They're telling you a story that they've lived.
We're split up between several countries, over 40-50 million Kurds. The Kurds are a minority in all these countries. It relies on the people in the diaspora, the ones that are outside, to kind of use whatever they can to get their voices out there and heard. We don't have, a homeland, or we don't have anything to kind of attribute that to our history. Our history has been erased through a lot of empires and things that have come into our area. I want more people to understand the culture, understand the people, the language, and we can do that through film. It's a very good, strong medium that we can get the message out there.
It's the real things. There's a language and there's a culture.
Recognition.
And yes, then you share this culture with the world and then make the better place.
So in The Long Shift, we follow a Filipino nurse, so the language we hear is Tagalog, which is very exciting.
Creatively, it was just a way to show the connection that these Filipino nurses have to their homeland. But also, in hospitals, there's often not many spaces that you can call private because everything is so out in the open and so transparent. So I really tried to use language to show that jump between private and public lives of these nurses.
These women are bonded by their culture. It shows that they have a shared experience, and it shows Roxanne's link to her family and the fact that she's left them behind. For this character, she's caught between 2 worlds, and her being able to speak her language is part of that.
If you were to take an expression that's, usually seen in Tagalog and try to say that in English, it doesn't translate. And a lot of Filipino language, or at least this main dialect, is how something is said as opposed to what is actually said. What I really loved about the script was whenever 2 Filipino characters were speaking together, they were speaking mostly Tagalog, reflecting on what real life is. In private, we revert to our first language or our mother tongue, and that's natural, and to have that represented properly and authentically, I think is very important.
We have one of the highest per capita Filipino populations outside of the Philippines, so I think it's so powerful for Tagalog to end up on screen, to be able to share our own language with our own community.
There is something to be said about feeling seen and being represented on screen and hearing a language that, is so familiar to you. I would like to think that we did it justice and that people of Filipino background do appreciate those nuances.